top.
It could be. Adam's not going to play Gragas, man.
I mean, true, but I don't think neither of us said Yasuo top was the possibility. We thought that it might be...
I said it was an option.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I wasn't listening.
That's fine. And here we are.
It's lights out, and away we go.
Lights out. Oh, yeah, you remember that reference.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
So Yasuo top's been played 8 times in the LEC, all time.
Sure.
Guess its win rate.
I'm going to say it's like 33%.
Yeah, 38%.
Ooh, I was close.
Last time was Woolite in 2019 LEC Summer.
Woolite, that's a name.
So that was a troll game, I assume, because he played into a Kane. And Woolite was an AD carry, not a top laner.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Before that, I've got a few Challenger Series games in here. The last non-troll, as far as we know, LEC game where Yasuo top was played was 2015 Summer by Cabochard.
That sounds like a Cabochard. Did he win?
He did win, 7-2-4.
Oh, there we go. If Cabochard
he was playing into Nautilus top. Okay. That's enough looking back at stats. Let's pay attention to the game.
Right. Is there any early game shenanigans? Let's have a look across the board. Of course, as a reminder, both these teams kept their rosters moving into spring. Both overall can be pretty satisfied with what they showcased. SK securing a top 4. And BDS, while not being able to qualify for that top 4 spot, still having a really good performance in the best of 3s, even taking a game off of G2. But it was Adam who was shut down in the early laning phase on his Olaf against Astralis, where he was hard camped, and Finn was able to get the better of him with an element of jungle support.
Just a little bit of jungle support in that game. I'm sure he's having flashbacks to Sejuani ganks over and over again. We did notice Sheo picking the Jarvan here. A little bit surprising, but actually with the buffs that Jarvan got as DOS engages onto Labrov in the bot lane, this should be fine. With the buffs that Jarvan got on his W, with the shield now scaling off your bonus AD, actually is a lot stronger as a jungler than he was. Before, you didn't have any scaling on that shield. Now, if you jump in and you have a Gore Drinker, you get a bunch of bonus AD, you can actually have quite a hefty shield as you go in for that engage. DOS going to trade in here. Going for the Q second. You often see this on Rakans now. Sometimes you even take Q first into a melee matchup just for the trades. Because the healing off that Q was buffed, I think on 13-2 or 13-3. Yeah.
Sheo will be spotted on a ward as he moves into the bot side of the map. Reminder that while Nuke does have a bit more push, the bot lane does not. He's been able to... Oh no, he will be spotted by the ward. Execute gonna be... Well, he wants that cannon. He wants the cannon.
Marcoon's coming around as well. Now, DOS can order this cannon W away. He needs 3 for that E, though. Still, at 2-3 minions away from it. The stun's going to land. There's the knock-up as well as they look for the kill onto Execute. The Ignite is enough. Sheo takes it in the end with that red buff Brock. And BDS get first blood.
Well, SK knew that the gank was coming. What they didn't expect was the flash stun from Labrov, and this is the power of Annie. Her ability to set up these plays is just so easy. Labrov working towards another stun, but he won't quite be able to get it. They'll push the wave underneath the tower. They'll get a nice back off. DOS trying to hold and freeze the wave and interrupt the back. That he will. Okay, so he's bought some time here.
Look at where his jungle mid are. Sheo and Nuke are actually hard invading here, looking for this blue. Maybe just trying to force Marcoon off towards the other side of the map. Instead, we'll take the Scuttle Crab.
But a great start to the game from BDS and good gank overall. You can see the idea that with Marcoon hovering, SK was saying, hey, we can respond to this, we can counter this play, or counter rather this play, and they just were a little too late. The damage was too much, it was too fast, and we're gonna have a quick look back at it. So again, you can see Marcoon hovering right behind them, but flash stun from Labrov. Just so quick, very difficult to respond with. You basically got to react flash for flash, and even if you do, depending on whether or not the Annie has been able to Q her stun, even if you do flash, you can still end up stunned on the other side of it, which means that Sheo could have then just EQ flash to get that additional knock-up. So overall, good stuff from the early game from BDS. They've clawed a pretty healthy early game advantage as top is winning, the jungle advantage, and of course the support advantage across the board.
Yeah, good lead early on here for BDS, continuing the way that they mean to go on. SK, their bot lane was such a point of power for them in winter. Now Execute is, still ahead in CS. Those wave pushing in, though, means that Crownie should be able to catch them. Once again, Sheo looking for a gank. No flashes were expended by the SK bot lane, but still the threat with the Graviton root, and now Labrov can charge the stun. There's the follow-up, and Execute just doesn't get a moment to move. Crowny on the board, second kill of the game for BDS.
The vision control on the bot side of the map from BDS is fantastic. You have a look at some of these wards. They placed these deep wards earlier thanks to the mid-prio that they had. They had this control ward already in the bush to make sure that all of the vision that SK did have, which was very limited, was denied. Remember that DOS very early on already swapped to the sweeper, so outside of the single trinket that they had available on Exakick, there just wasn't any vision available to them. So BDS punished that. They looked for a repeat gank, and the wave was pushing away from them as well. They want to try and push this wave out, and now it can very much be frozen, but the play is simple. Crowny has the Gravitum available, is able to get the roots. Labrov uses the W into the Q to secure the stun, and then Shio doesn't even need to EQ. DOS tries to knock him up to buy time, but it's not enough. Another kill.
And it's one of the weaknesses of Rakan as well. You can stop people a little bit with your W, you can stop them getting into the fight, but if they're already on top of someone, you have no way of really disengaging your AD carry until you get the quickness that you can charm people away from the fight. It's not something like an Alistair that can headbutt them away, or a Nautilus that can, you know, hook them and CC them a little bit more. It's a bit of a tricky one. Rakan's laning phase has always been one of his main points of weakness. Even with the Q buffs, he's still not the strongest in the lane. Relatively safe to blind pick if you're willing just to stay back, but for the moment, BDS are doing a very good job of isolating this bot lane and putting them behind. And when you're trying to isolate someone on SK, when you're trying to find a place that you can really put pressure on, this bot lane is a key target. They are so consistently the carry for SK when it gets to later portions of the game. If you put them behind in the early game, maybe SK will struggle.
Have to wait and see. We've seen Certus have some strong Akali games in the past,
True.
Of course. Often in the mid to late game is where we see him shine. We'll see if he can have a strong performance. Things like Gragas, though, can be very obnoxious to deal with. Annie as well. The single target CC can make an Akali's life very difficult. But if that stun is not available, Akali can run rampant on the backline. Marcoon hovering around the bot side of this map, but with the topside camp spawning soon, he's going to have to move away from this bot lane, which means that a dive is a possibility. Diving Azaya is difficult once you hit 6.
Shea was spotted on this ward in the tri-bush as he came across here. Marcoon's waiting as well, but
he's just covering.
Are now on a ward, and even though BDS didn't know they were on vision, their vision control allows them to avoid the possibility of a counter gank.
I mean, Sheo is just covering. His primary goal right now is to make sure that the bot lane is safe to push this underneath the tower. Now he's going to drop the sweeper. SK shouldn't have information that he's here. They should only know that he's at the bot side of his map. In theory, the red buff is up. You can see already, Exakick, he doesn't like this. He's going to back away. And SK's forced to play defensive because their team can't offer that support with Marcoon hovering around the top side of the map right now. In terms of like looking forward, obviously the Herald is available. Crowny, with this push they have in bot, they could immediately rotate up towards the top side of the map, or they could just look to base. It seems that neither team is really looking to contest it early on. A little bit surprising from both teams, especially with the control that BDS have in the bot lane 2 versus 2. Perhaps they prefer to just keep Exakick and DOS in lane as much as possible, secure plates for themselves, and kind of stifle any opportunity for SK to crawl anything back in this early game.
SK might look for something up towards this top side. DOS dives in, dashes back. Exakick has 6 now, though. Should be able to get away from Crowny and above, even though the stun does connect. Not too much invested by the BDS bot lane. Can use that Molten Shield to stack up the stun again if you want, as Labrov ult for ult traded. And in the end, all Crowny's trying to do there is make sure that Labrov, when he gets that Tibbers, can just land the flash stun. Exakick no longer has an ultimate, doesn't have the cleanse. Flash away now. That's good from DOS. Means that Labrov has to be a little bit more tricky with how he gets close. And Exakick and DOS can just catch the wave underneath the tower here.
You can see how much pressure Labrov is able to put down with the Annie, leveraging the range. 3 members topside will be all that is required for BDS, but that means the cross map. This is where the communication needs to come out that Marcoon could be looking for a play in bot. When you look at the lane state right now of BDS, they want to try and push this wave out as quickly as possible. They're in an awkward spot, and Marcoon's found the angle.
No flash on Labrov. Do you go for him? Do you go for Crowny? Flash away, flash forward from DOS. The chase is in, but the summon Tibbers will not be enough. DOS takes it with the ignite. SK invest everything into finding that kill.
So it's unfortunate that the kill doesn't go on to Marcoon or Exakick, but SK will at the very least get something back. It was the cross-map play that we expected, and BDS, they just weren't ready for it. They're able to shut down Crowny. They should be able to push out this wave, and Exakick, for the first time this game, can get a base where it doesn't result in his death.
Yeah. Actually choosing to go back to base rather than being forced. Now, Labrov can use Tibbers here to interrupt some of these bases.
Oh, and he will.
He does exactly that. Tibbers just ticking away on Exakick and DOS, burning them down, and they have to respect the bear, Betty.
Yeah, this is so annoying.
It's unbearable for the SK bot lane.
Oh no, don't you
It's
dare.
a grisly situation
Stop
to be
it,
in.
stop it. I've heard every single one of your bear jokes.
So I love the bear jokes, but you're the polar opposite.
Yeah. Stop it! I'm so angry. Are you done? You sure? Positive. This is your last chance. If you've got any more, get them out right now.
Yeah, but if I get them out later, they're better.
No, don't you dare.
Talk about the game. I'm going to Google bear puns.
40 seconds until the next dragon. Will likely be the next point of contention. No summoner spells available on Exekick or DOS. And I literally just heard Marcoon say 20 seconds.
20 seconds on his ultimate is what I'm going to assume here. As you can see that one ticking for Marcoon. We'll be up relatively soon. BDS trying to invest down towards this bottom lane. Do have that Rift Herald. Remember, Sheo got that earlier on, and BDS have put on a bit of a clinic in this early game. Shut down the bot lane of SK, or at least put them behind. And got the objectives. Now one dragon in the hole, but for it, they're about 1,700 gold ahead. A lot of that sitting on Crowny as well. Adam in the top lane. Haven't really talked about top too much as Marcoon looks for something here. Immediately dives in, but DOS can't chase forward either. Looks for Sheo. But Lebrov's just going to be able to get the stun here, and Marcoon was all... it was just all over the place from SK. Marcoon dived in, X-Kick wasn't there, DOS came in late. It was a disaster for SK, and BDS very happy to accept the kill.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we get a replay of that, if we could actually click on DOS to see if he had his cooldowns up, because I wonder if the idea was Marcoon goes over with the Blast Cone, DOS then uses his E, and then they look for the engage, because as you rightly said, it looked very disconnected from SK as Marcoon effectively isolated himself. And one of the strengths that we talked about of this Rakan is that it's easier to follow up on these type of engages, but it was not easy at all. And so SK will fall further behind as BDS will secure their first dragon of the game.
Reeks of desperation, really, from SK. We saw DOS as well, as you were talking, just use the quickness in the lane, tried to get onto Lebrov. He doesn't have flash, but nor does Exekick. How are you ever going to close that gap? And now with the Rift Herald coming down, you can see Nuke moving across from the mid lane because he's always got push into Certus. BDS are really commanding this early game and forcing SK to make some difficult decisions. The Rift Herald charges in. Nuke was just covering in case they wanted to look for the dive, but that's 3 tower plates already, a 3,000 gold lead for BDS. And look at it, Crowny is 1.2k ahead. Lebrov continues just to be a nuisance, and DOS and Exekick unable to back that. We'll stay around, maybe trying to hold Crowny and Lebrov away from this wave. I wonder if Crowny's just looking for a certain item threshold as he picked up that one extra set of minions.
Lebrov walked up with the shield, trying to bait something out of Exekick. Let's have a look back at this replay. Oh, so we do have the cooldown, so we can see he has everything up. Goes over the wall. Does he put himself out of range of the E? Because DOS, that to me said that Marcoon was going to go over, DOS was going to go with him. That was very clearly the game plan. But for whatever reason, DOS did not follow up on Marcoon. And I'm not entirely sure why. I don't know if he put himself out of range so that... But I feel like the E range is so long. But maybe...
I think it was about the edge of the range for the Vi, but I don't think it was out of range, having played a bunch of Rakan. On the Zyra, it's obviously a lot longer for the E, but I think when he was in that bush, Rakan should have been able to eat him. Whether there was something else happening in comms, it was very disjointed is what we can say, and it gave another kill over to BDS, which means at the moment they are in.
It could have been it could have been a as we call it, VDS, well, I'm going in, wait, never mind, don't come with me, I'm dead.
Well, because they didn't have vision, right, because of the control wall. So maybe they just didn't know that Sheo was there. Marcoon jumps over the wall, and DOS is like, wait, there's 3 of them, and then doesn't immediately eat.
Oh yeah, the classic, no, I'm good. You do you, king. In any case, we're looking always towards the next objective. Things like the Herald and Dragon, of course, not available to play for right now. No real plates have been secured for either side, which means that we're just kind of in this ebb and flow, back and forth battle for vision in this neutral mid game. Why you say something funny, Medic?
I don't have much funny stuff.
You literally had all these bear puns you'd prepared. You'd set the audience up for that
that's more
specific
spur of the
thing.
moment, you know?
Spur of the moment.
Yeah. Can't just come in here expecting me to like a puppet for you, just give you bear puns on demand, Vedius, as Exekick tries to trade onto Lebrov here. There's the stun. Exekick does still have the Featherstorm. DOS coming in with the quickness. Lebrov flashes away, but the charm still hits. And with the Featherstorm, it's enough. Crowny flashing forward. Will kill off Exekick. Now they're looking with the TP for a little bit more. Adam diving in. Can't get close enough. In the end, it's 1 for 1.
Well, they should be able to convert this into a tower. Adam committing his TP doesn't really result in a kill, but the 1 for 1, as you rightly said, and Crowny securing that kill is definitely a net positive for BDS, and Adam can continue to push this wave in bot. And look at this, the TP comes out from Nuke. They're able to catch every single wave, and they can send the Aphelios off to the mid lane. And now they've got nice lane assignments, exactly what BDS wanted. So even though it was Exekick to kick off that play, thinking that he could punish the Brov, like, I was a little surprised Exekick chose to go for that fight, because Annie, like, her base stats are just strong, right? And her setup and the fact that you would choose to commit to that fight when you know that she has the stun and how easy it is for her to get that stun as well, very surprising. Of course, he does still get that kill, but yeah, it does cost him his life. And now the Herald is alive, which means that BDS very quickly converting to this objective as well.
SK are set up in the area, but no Ultimate on Exekick, no Ultimate on DOS. Means that it would be a sticky situation for them if they decided to walk into it. Looking at their current situation, they decided they don't have the necessary qualifications.
A koala's not a bear, is it?
They're called koala bears.
True, they are. Yeah, that's fair. How wrong of me.
Exactly. Although koala, I think in the native language that it originated from, I don't know the exact language, so I'm just going to say the language it originated from means bear. So you're just calling it a bear. Above looking up towards this top lane here.
In Wales, there's the River Avon, and the word Avon in Welsh means river, so it's called the River.
Nice.
Yeah, fun fact.
Welsh is an odd language, though.
Yeah.
What's the word for taxi again?
Taxi.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Invented.
And then radio, ambulance.
Riptide charges in. This will be top lane tower going over to BDS. The second of the game. SK got one in the bot side in recompense. Certus has the TP. He's split pushing right now. He's in an okay position on this Akali. Already finished his first item, about 500 gold ahead of Nuke. The question is whether or not he can have an impact when it comes to team fights. Next dragon up in 8 seconds. And you can see BDS resetting, trying to gain some vision, because right now SK do have a ward line in their jungle, and Nuke will find the wards and clear them out. That's what he's doing.
That's what he's done.
Clearing those wards.
Yep. Dragon up. Marcoon going to secure that one. I don't think that BDS is likely to contest this, which means that it will just be a Drake in favor of SK. They do have that potential win condition, but with the deficit that they find themselves in, BDS is looking very good right now. You're thinking about the scaling element. Of course, we talked about how for a Jarvan, you look across the other side and you're like, well, this comp doesn't look very fun to play into, but really all he needs to do is get that knock up, lock down that target that maybe doesn't have a flash. He just needs to create chaos in the fight. He can do a lot of work. He's sitting in what he believes to be the fog of war, but little does he know that he has in fact been spotted.
A little bit less foggy here. An episode of Silent Hill rendition, it seems, as Certus looks for Crowny. Exekick dashing forward to Galeports as well. Crowny trying to get away, but Certus gets a shut down. Laying wait and picked his mark, and he gets a double for. We asked if he could show up, and he does exactly that.
Certus, that was clean, my man. That was incredibly clean. Wow. Wow. Very, very good stuff. I really hope we get a replay of that so we can break down exactly what he does, because he doesn't waste a single skill. He fully understands his damage limitations, and he plays it perfectly. So Crowny is the target, naturally. You'd think that he would commit the E here, but he doesn't, right? He commits the Q, he procs the passive, gets the Q again into execute, and that's more than enough damage. Then he lands the E onto the Annie as the knockup comes through, waits for the knockup, follows through into the auto, and then execute.
Really nice.
Just very well played by Certus there. Again, not a single wasted skill, manages his energy flawlessly.
Didn't need pause for thought there from Certus. Once again, was able to find his mark. I've got one really good one. It's the last one of the cast, okay?
Okay,
What do you call a bear with no bees?
Yeah?
Yep. That's just really funny to me.
How is that funny?
Yeah. It's like, what do you call a fish with no eyes? Oh, goodness.
I've heard a deer one before, but I can't remember what it is.
What do you call a deer with no eyes? No idea. What do you call a dead deer with no eyes? Still no idea. That's enough puns.
Yeah.
Let's talk about League of Legends.
Someone's been watching The Last of Us.
Yes.
All right, well, when we think about next objectives, we're looking at things like out of towers, what objective can be secured. One of the problems that SK do have is that their siege, not the strongest. Exekick being your only range champion, and honestly, not being that long range means that you have to get very close to secure a tower if you just want to do a front-to-back kind of trade, which means you kind of have to cross-map to secure these next objectives, which means that SK should be looking at the top side of the map. That top tower, which is already where they're setting themselves up for nicely. Marcoon has the ultimate, and they're going to go for the dive now.
Wave's been cleared out though. They get onto Adam. Certus going in as well. Dashes in, dashes back. The Immortal Shield Bow enough to keep the Yasuo alive.
Again, another nice combo there from Certus, but as you rightly said, the shield bow is really what kept Adam alive there. He wasn't forced to burn the flash, and with a quick TP from Nuke, he was able to get away to safety. Now DOS is in some danger.
Yeah, he's in a lot of danger. Quickness into flash there. Certus couldn't hug the wall close enough for him to E because he would have been caught out by Nuke, so safest way out for DOS. Maybe could have invested the flash instead of just the quickness, first, but...
So, the advantage here for BDS now is that because they were able to protect their top tower, thanks to the TP investment, they can now start pressuring this top side and getting slightly deeper vision. As we already talked about, by rotating through this mid control that they had, they're able to move up through mid into then the enemy jungle and then drop these small wards here. Now, this doesn't result in massively deep vision, but what it does result in is by pushing this wave all the way in, it buys you enough time to actually reset on the map and then get back out and then basically have greater tempo than SK, giving you more opportunity to make plays, and you can see all the control wards sitting in their inventory, ready to gain some map information and set up for the dragon that spawns in about a minute and 20 seconds. It's just a really great awareness from BDS overall, as they should be able to find a pick.
Irrelevant. Building up that Mega Nard. DOS is on the way as well. No quickness, remember, on that with Khan.
Nice
Pops the Shurelios. Couldn't get in range for anything more, and so SK will just have it disengaged from them. BDS unwilling to take that fight right now. Both AD carries at 2 items, both mid laners sitting on the same. So damage in this next fight be relatively equal. The only difference really is in top lane. Adam's Immortal Shield about to come off. He's got the Bloodthirster second as well. Something we have been seeing a little bit more. On this Yasuo, to be able to survive for a while. Double control on the same wavelength there, although...
Just to make sure...
Double control again!
Yeah, that's... we must have control!
No more controls! Vedius is in it for Adam. The knockup's going to come in as well, but Certus dives onto the back line. Now onto Lebov, dashing forward with the perfect execution. Adam and Lebov able to get away, but Sheo is isolated from the rest of his team. In the end, it's DOS that falls first. Sheo trying to get away from Exekick and will burn the flash to do so. Nuke, explosive cast into the last breath, but Exekick still has a Feather Storm. And a tempestuous moment it is for SK. Certus goes back in, Shale with the shield! The Aegis shield upgrade! All that bonus AD coming in handy for Sheo. He survives and Certus dies.
Does help the Certus through his Q the wrong way. But that will beat BDS walking away with 2 kills and a dragon as they're able to outplay SK. It looked like a great fight initially for SK. The fact that they're able to lock down Adam for so long, it felt like that the damage would be more than enough. But BDS walk away the victors. And SK, someone in shambles in this early game. It's just been clean execution from start to finish so far from BDS. Adam walks up to try and contest that control ward. Honestly, a bit of an overzealous play. Certus focusing a lot on the Brav. Maybe his focus is a little bit split, as you can see. The dive onto the back line onto Crowny, but then there's no follow-up because Certus burnt everything onto trying to do what damage he could onto both Lebrov and Adam, which meant that he then ran out of fuel. Then the ultimate comes through from Nuke. Followed that up with Adam. Forces Exekick back, and you can see here, Certus lands the E. The shield, the heal, and then Certus threw his Q backwards. He wouldn't have had enough damage anyway, even if he did land that Q, I can tell you right now. But yeah, no bueno.
Well, not for SK. BDS.
Again, 2 control wards. Do they just think that they come in pairs?
Look, okay, I'm pretty sure.
The control wards came in 2 by 2, hurrah, hurrah.
Pretty sure someone on BDS just really has been watching LS's co-streams, and he said something bad about BDS. And so they're like, hey guys, 2 wards everywhere. Spend it. 150G, put it out there.
Get value out of these control wards, bro.
It's funny though, seeing 2 control wards all the time.
Well, they're out of control wards now. There's 1 left.
They have 1.
They can't double control ward again, right? Surely.
How like, okay.
Oh no, they have 2.
Also, one of those control wards is outside of the bush.
Yeah, it is.
Could be trying to catch
the irony
ward
is,
that's down
they
by this
put
lane.
2 there, right? 1 outside, 1 inside, to make sure they got everything.
And they got rid of the one that was
They got rid of
yeah.
1 inside.
Such is life. Sometimes these things don't quite align. Last breath once again onto Certus, dashing away as much as he can, trying to survive this. Adam's still on the chase, but a good, perfect execution from Certus, using that ultimate to escape over the wall.
Close one. Nice combo set up by BDS. Will not really result in much. TP, once again, wow, BDS are committed to keeping this top tower alive. Nuke has used his TP bot top. He's just, you know, it's an unleash now. You could be TPing elsewhere, but he's like, nope, got to protect this tower, my man. And that is what he'll do. Bot lane's going to be pushed out as well. BDS getting some vision around the top side of the map once more. Resets coming through. Stopwatch now secured for Crowny, meaning that there's significantly less threat onto him.
And one of the questions we asked about BDS last year was how they played their mid games, because they tended to struggle. Their early games were good, then their mid games collapsed. In Winter, we saw their mid games get a little bit better, and here we get to see another example of whether they can close out a game against a formidable opposition. Like SK,
Sure.
although they've had a bad start to this split, you know, all 25 minutes of it, they did make playoffs. They made top 4.
Let's also not forget that SK always fell behind in playoffs.
Yep.
And then they came back in team fights. So maybe they'll out-team fight their opposition.
Possible. We just had a couple of minutes of, you know, bouncing back and forth with these waves, trying to get vision control. With it being 2 minutes still on the third dragon for either of these teams, it makes sense. There's a bit of bouncing, you know. But
Would you say the BDS have displayed as the bare minimum of mid-game control?
yes, I would.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I can do them too. Dab on them.
Yours was unbearable, I'll be honest.
You already used that one.
Have I?
Cheating. Top lane being pushed in right now. BDS, they're looking for the fight.
BDS going in onto Sheo. Look at the knockup. Look at the CC. Extra kick does not get an opportunity to react. SK forced away. An extra kick down once again. And it was beautiful stuff there by BDS. They push forward. They're looking for more. At least this mid lane tier 1 will probably be all for this push at least as they back away once again.
Look at the shield that Adam has. The Bloodthirster combined with the shield bow along with the stopwatch. The man will be very difficult to kill. As poor Exakick didn't even get a chance to use anything. Ended up getting locked down, chain CC'd. And not the strongest return performance.
It's
obviously.
Also the debate about heal cleanse. Sorry, I assumed you were going to talk about how good he was.
I was going to talk about how good he was.
You can do that first if you want.
No, but you make a good point.
Yeah, why heal over cleanse is my question, I think. Looking more at this game, looking more at how things have played
It's
out.
a fair point.
Cleanse would have just helped you a lot more with
I mean,
initial
in
stuns.
his defense, he got knocked up first.
Oh, true,
And
yeah,
then
kind of
stunned.
knocked up,
Yeah. And like the stun, frankly, was kind of redundant. However, in lane,
It would
had
help
he
a
had
little
cleanse.
bit. Gravitum doesn't root you anymore.
Yes,
Anti-stun doesn't stun you anymore.
correct. You're right. I would agree with you. Cleanse definitely has a lot of value here. Unless, of course, you get knocked up. The Gragas and the...
Yasuo in the job. And
yeah, that wouldn't help.
yeah, it does mean it's a little bit of a struggle. Third item complete now on Adam as well, on that Yasuo. Guardian Angel. He hasn't died yet and he doesn't want to make it a habit. Marcoon and Sheo butting heads down towards the bottom side. Irrelevant working his way down as well as so has Adam. SK, they're fighting for this, but it's going to be a very difficult affair to navigate, I fear. Sheo's worked his way all the way behind here. Certus could jump in there. Marcoon could do the same. Do they know that Sheo's there? They don't. Sheo lying in wait. Certus caught.
Irrelevant.
BDS with a fog of war trip before Irrelevant's trying to get onto the backline and the engage comes out. The Gnar, the knock-up, the CC chain execute dashing forward as well, and Crownie's already so low. Crownie will fall before he can even pop his ultimate. And Sheo was waiting in the fog of war, but SK didn't give him an opportunity to strike. They pounce. They almost kill him off. Irrelevant can chase forward, flash, boomerang. The shield will not save you now. Irrelevant chases him down, and it's a shutdown over to SK. The Dragon, their prize. And 4 kills to boot.
And just like that, SK's team fighting comes online. This is exactly how this team came back in so many games last split, and they do it once again. A phenomenal engage. It happened so quickly, I didn't even see how it all came about. All I saw was the bot lane of BDS getting chain CC'd into death. Flawless execution from SK, and this should be a Baron to boot.
And like that, the game shifts. The pendulum of favor now working for SK. They are still behind in gold, but they have Baron buff for 3 minutes. And they have 3 dragons sitting in their back pockets. Have another look at this. Irrelevant goes in, Marcoon engages.
So this is the engage that we're talking about, though, you know? Oh, the knocker, oh my word. So Irrelevant got a 3-man knockback into the Rakan knockup, which then knocked 3 people up, and it just made it so much easier for Certus and Exakick to deliver so much damage in the fight. BDS, wow, what a combo. SK effectively created a 3 kind of angled attack with Certus coming in from that choke point near blue buff, Irrelevant coming in from mid, and then the jungle support coming in from bot lane. Very well played fight from SK, and who'd have thought? We talked about it earlier. This is how they came back into games. Then we got to see it live in action. This is what allowed SK to secure that top 4 finish at the end of Winter, and we'll see if they can do it again. Now the gold is dead even. SK in a much more confident position, and they're going to feel much more confident
Doss looking
Surtus
for
bot
the
lane.
block. There's a quickness. Marcoon could follow up here, but
Hang on, what?
they decide against it. So Marcoon was like hovering around the
don't
edge.
know,
Maybe they didn't know if like Sheo or Nuke were holding around the corner, but it's the second time this game we've seen Doss and Marcoon perhaps a little bit out of sorts, not on the same page at least.
Yeah, I mean, I also saw Surtus bot lane, like, he wasn't going to TP quick enough to be able to follow up on that. Exit kick I didn't see there. It was...
I can see Doss seeing that, oh, we just burst the block. Like, cease and desist quickness, he just dies.
Sure.
Right, and then you just walk away. But obviously didn't work out the way they had planned. One of them reading War and Peace, the other one well and truly in a copy of, I don't know, another novel.
You didn't really think that one through, did you?
Cities.
No, you didn't think that one?
Yeah, just different pages.
You're just naming books that I don't read.
War and Peace is a pretty good book. Dostoevsky, classic.
Oh.
Tale of Two Cities as well. No? Moby Dick?
I read,
Call Me Ishmael?
I read a story
Okay.
about a bear, and this isn't a joke.
Oh, no.
I'm actually being very deadly serious. A bear that got a cupcake with 6 cherries on it, and then the story is about how everyone asks him for a cherry, and then he ends up having the cupcake with no cherries on it because he gives them to all of his friends.
That's like kind of
and then he
bear.
gets very sad because he wanted the cupcake with cherries.
So his cupcake was bare in the end, was it?
Yeah, and what I learned, the moral of that story was just don't be
Don't
nice
share.
to people. So now I don't share my gum with anyone. Yeah, thank you, Bear Book. Someone's gonna tweet at me. I know that book, but it's a real book. I forget the name of it, but it's about a bear with a cupcake and cherries. Anyway, mid being pushed in, top being pushed in, Adam being dived on.
Looking for Adam here. The wind wall going down, though. Adam has lost no health yet, just burning through the shield. Explosive cast from Nuke. A little bit overeager there as well. Perhaps was looking for someone, but Adam lost no health. Just worked through the shield and still has GA up.
So observers also highlighting that the mid tower did in fact go down. The thing about that Baron is it didn't swing the game heavily in favor of SK. It basically kind of returned the game to a neutral state. You can see that the difference between the AD carries now has gone. Before, it was a massive advantage for Crowny. Now that's not really relevant. You can see that Adam does have a big gold lead over Irrelevant, but Surtus has accrued his own lead over Nuke in the mid lane thanks to all the kills that he's been able to find. So the game is pretty dead even. The carries are very fed, and the Dragon spawned in about a minute's time, which will be very important for SK. BDS will be forced to fight over it, so now it's just a matter of securing what vision you can. You can see Doss trying to, I was going to say, get this vision down, maybe even look for a reset, and then come back out onto the map. But if nothing else, he's forcing BDS to expend their vision to clear what little vision he invests.
And one of the benefits of Infernal Map for vision control is it makes vision control harder for the defending team because you can only put so many control wards down, and there's more nooks and crannies in which you can hide your wards now. So we saw like control ward went down in the red side of the red pit instead of in the bush, which means you could put a ward in that bush. Makes it a little bit trickier for BDS to adequately use their control wards, but they have 3 sweepers, so they're using those instead. Both the sports over 100 vision score already in this game. Going to be expected. Now BDS have control of the river, and it's SK who are face checking in. The ward on Surtus will spot him. Doss still looking for that quickness. No flash on him, though, means that perhaps Marcoon needs to be the one to initiate. Surtus has put a control ward down here, but if he walks out of that bush, he'll still be spotted by the ward that the control ward doesn't spot.
They know that he's in a flank somewhere. I'm not sure if they actually spotted him walking into that bush. They have a feeling that he's in the try. And Irrelevant building up that rage bar.
Almost got the mega.
Now
Now
Surtus
they see
spotted.
Surtus. They know exactly where he is. They want to fight for this dragon, though. It's soul for SK if they get it. Irrelevant builds up the mega flash. 4-man knob into the wall. And the CC chain just doesn't stop coming. Execute gets another. That's 3. A beautiful smash into the wall from Irrelevant. Everything his team needed in that moment. And SK clean up the fight.
Irrelevant once again with a fantastic Gnar ultimate. This man just has not missed this game. And a fantastic execution, and really the core of what has made SK's team fighting so strong in this game. A great comeback from SK. Their early game, the BDS had their number. They were in full control, but when it came down to these fights, SK just found the windows and found the way to make it work. Irrelevant with an incredible game. Surtus really cementing himself as a very strong Akali here in Europe. And they need to reset. They take the inhibitor, they go back to base. They know that much stronger now after another 1 team fight and the Dragon Soul. The Baron is spawning, and this is likely next going to be the main objective that both these teams fight for.
You see Sheo just looking for some sort of flank position here. Only has the Gordrin Caranduin, so isn't going to be able to burst anyone down. Not perhaps the lethality Jarvan that you may have seen in your solo queue games, but Sheo is in a strong position here. DOS stepping in, has that quickness, has the flash. Sheo still has yet to be spotted. Certus spots him now. Sheo, you gotta realize! Doesn't realize quickly enough. And Certus molded in the darkness, formed by it, finds another as the engage happens. Irrelevant once again with an R, but doesn't actually land any stuns into the wall there. Nuke getting chipped away at Marcoon on the chase forward. Nuke pops the stopwatch, but immediately afterwards, you gotta feel he'll go pop as X-Kick takes him down. Doss and Irrelevant looking for a little bit more. Marcoon knocks up Crowny, and Certus still on the chase, has the perfect execution, doesn't even need it. As they round out the kills, TP to the mid lane, TP to the Nexus towers. SK grasping victory from the jaws of defeat. Adam trying to defend, another stopwatch, buying a little bit of time as Adam once again gets the last breath, but he's aced. And SK will clean it up and continue their winning ways from winter.
A fantastic comeback from SK. Some excellent team.